actually recording today. All right, so we're going to start out with Romeo and Juliet, and let's just kind of recap what happened in the first scene that we read on Wednesday. So remember, what two families are feuding? Capulets and the Montagues. The Montagues. And Prince Aeschylus said, anyone from here on caught feuding and fighting will pay with their what?
Lives.
Pay with their lives. And so Romeo is a Montague. And remember, he is our hopeless romantic. He is madly in love with Rosaline. And,
they're going to wreck the party.
yes, and they're going to the party at the Capulet's house. They're going to sneak in because they're not invited. But they're going because Rosaline's going to be there. And Benvolio says, maybe you'll see that there are other fish in the sea, other girls out there, and get over Rosaline.
Fish in the sea.
So they went off to get some costumes and to find their friend Mercutio. Meanwhile, at the Capulet's house, Lady Capulet went looking for her daughter Juliet. She soon heard her giggling and found Juliet in her bedroom talking to her old nursemaid who was her constant companion. Now then, Juliet, Lady Capulet began, you know why we're having this ball tonight, don't you? Your father thinks it's time you were married, and he's chosen a husband for you, Count Paris. He'll be at the party, and we hope you two can get to know each other. A husband? Gasped Juliet. Ooh, Count Paris, exclaimed the nurse. He's very rich, you know. Well, I'll talk to him if you insist, said Juliet reluctantly, but I don't know if I'll even like him. How old is Juliet?
13. She smacks him in the face.
A maidservant knocked at the door and came in. The first guests will be arriving soon, madam, she said. My Lord Capulet says your ladyships must please get ready and come downstairs. No one suspected a thing when Romeo and his friends arrived at old Capulet's house wearing their masks and were shown into the main hall. Thousands of candles burned in beautiful chandeliers, casting a golden glow over the finely dressed guests and tables piled high with food and drink. A band was playing on a stage, and a few guests were already dancing to the music. This is amazing, laughed Mercutio. Come on, lads, choose your partners. Mercutio was the joker among Romeo's friends. He loved dancing, drinking, and flirting, and was the life and soul of any party. But tonight, he couldn't persuade Romeo to join in. Why? What's wrong with Romeo? He's depressed. Because he's heartsick over Rosaline. I'll just sit and watch, Romeo said sulkily. You're not in the mood. Life is short, Romeo, Mercutio warned. Don't waste it moping over a girl. Come and have fun. But all Romeo cared about was looking out for Rosaline and torturing himself even more. So his friends left him to do it and joined the dancing. A few minutes later, the music paused, and old Capulet made his entrance. He climbed onto the stage and addressed the whole room. Welcome to you all, he cried, and thank you for coming. Help yourself to the food, drink as much as you like, and make sure you enjoy yourselves, as long as you're not a Montague, he added in with a grin. Everyone laughed. The band started up another time, and the party got going. After dancing until he was exhausted, Benvolio went to find Romeo. Well, have you seen Rosaline yet? He asked. But Romeo was gazing like an idiot at a girl on the dance floor. She was tall, blonde, and beautiful with a dazzling smile, and she was dancing politely with Count Paris.
Oh no. Count Paris. Oh no.
Who Romeo. She's lovely. Not again, said Mercutio, arriving beside him. What about Rosaline? I thought she was the only one for you. She's nothing compared to that girl, said Romeo. Before, I didn't know what love really was. Now I do. This is the real thing. Whatever you say, Romeo, Mercutio grinned, winking at Benvolio, and they burst out laughing. But what they didn't realize was that Tybalt, Capulet's nephew, was standing nearby. He overheard Mercutio say Romeo's name. So, he snarled, those Montagues think they can gate-crash our party, do they? He sent a servant to fetch him a dagger, but while the servant was gone, old Capulet came over. Why the angry face, Tybalt? He asked. Uncle, there are Montagues here in disguise, whispered Tybalt. Romeo Montague is just over there. I'm going to challenge him and throw him out. No, you are not, Capulet told him firmly. What did the prince say about no more fighting? And anyway, even if they weren't invited, they're here now, and it's wrong to turn away guests. So if you can't behave yourself, Tybalt, I suggest you leave. Tybalt was so angry that he stormed out of the party and went home. But his bitter fury did not die down. It burned in his heart, waiting for the next time he had a chance to confront Romeo. He planned to teach that mischievous Montague a lesson. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, Juliet went to find her nurse. She wanted to talk to her about Count Paris. She thought he seemed a little old and stuffy, and she did not really want to marry him. As she walked alone down the side corridor, she heard a voice behind her. My lady, the voice said, turn and look at me, for I long to see your beautiful face again. Juliet turned and saw a tall, very good-looking boy with a party mask in his hand. You are an angel, the boy declared earnestly. I don't know who you are, but I've been in love with you from the moment I saw you. Please let me kiss you. Juliet had never been kissed before, but since her father was thinking about finding her a husband, she decided she must be old enough, and she would have far rather kissed this handsome stranger than boring old Count Paris. Now the boy was coming closer, and Juliet didn't stop him. She let him put his arms around her and kiss her. They stared into each other's eyes and kissed again. Juliet! Juliet, what are you doing? It was the nurse bustling along the hallway in an enormous ball gown. Your parents want to speak to you about Count Paris, she said, and you can keep away from her, young sir. I hope you're not getting any ideas. Why? Asked Romeo. Who are her parents? The lord and lady of the house, of course, the Capulets, said the nurse. This is my little Juliet. And she grabbed Juliet by the hand and dragged her away. Oh, no, groaned Romeo. She is Capulet's daughter. They'll never let me go near her. Why does this always happen to me? Oh, Juliet, my only love. And as for you, young lady, you'd better forget about him right now, Juliet's nurse scolded her as she tried to look over her shoulder at the boy. Don't you realize he's Romeo Montague? That's never going to work now, is it? And she hurried Juliet back to the main hall.
I'd be like, what? Just stay to that other girl.
As the party ended, Benvolio and Mercutio, worn out from dancing and full of delicious food, went to find Romeo. They searched the hall, the garden, and the street outside, but there was no sign of him.
Because he was hungry.
He must have gone home early, said Benvolio. Come on, let's go.
When he got home.
But Romeo had not gone home. Desperate to see Juliet again, he had climbed over the wall into the orchard that ran alongside the Capulet's house. He was hiding there in the shadows as a full moon shone overhead. Suddenly, he saw a beam of light. Someone had opened a door onto the balcony above the orchard. Watching from behind an apple tree, Romeo gasped when he saw Juliet step onto her balcony. It's her, he whispered to himself. How beautiful she is. Her lovely face is like the sun compared to the pale moon. Juliet sighed to herself. Oh, what am I going to do? She complained. She speaks. Oh, Juliet, speak again, Romeo whispered, straining to hear her. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, Juliet said softly, turning his name over and over on her tongue. Oh, Romeo, why must you be a Montague? What's in a name? Give up your family and change your name, or else I will give up mine, if we could only be together. Romeo stepped out from behind the tree. Whatever you wish, Juliet, he called. I'd do anything for you. Oh, who's there? Is it Romeo? Romeo, is that you? I hardly dare tell you my name, my lady, he smiled. You don't seem to like it. Oh, Romeo, it is you. How did you get in here? You're in terrible danger if the guards find a Montague in the orchard. They'll kill you. I climbed over the wall. I had to see you again, he said. Juliet, I love you, and I must be with you. I'll marry you if you'll give me your word. Oh, Romeo! Juliet knew her parents were planning to marry her to Paris soon. She had to act fast. Yes! Yes! She cried. Yes, I will marry you, Romeo, but it must be in secret, for my parents would never allow it. Send me a message tomorrow telling me where to meet you, and we'll get married as soon as we can. Juliet? Juliet! Her nurse called. I have to go, said Juliet, but I can trust my nurse, and I'll ask her to help us. Find her tomorrow at the market square and give her the message. Goodbye, Romeo. Good night, my love. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Farewell, called Romeo, until tomorrow. The door to the balcony closed, and Romeo crept away through the darkness, climbed back over the wall, and ran all the way back home.
I talked to you once. Now I'm going to marry you.
So now I'm going to read you that section because that is one of the most famous sections ever in history of all literature. And if I can find my phone, I'm going to read you the original in Shakespearean.
I wish my mom packed me a sweater. I don't think we'll be able to go.
Romeo, 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 wherefore art thou Romeo? So this is Act 2, Scene 2 from the original manuscript.
Song.
Okay, so it starts with Romeo talking. Yes, Elliot?
My dad actually sometimes says, "Oh, Bromeo, Bromeo," to me.
Okay, so I'll talk like this for Romeo. I'll talk like this for Juliet. Juliet appears in the window. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady, oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold, 'tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars. As daylight doth a lamp, her eyes in heaven would through the airy regions stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. So he is comparing to that of the night sky and the heaven, saying she is more beautiful than all the stars. If her eyes were stars, they would shine brighter than any other stars, and they would shine so brightly that the birds would think the sun was rising and they would wake. Ay me. She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head as a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this? 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? It is not hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called. Retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself. I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo. What man art thou that thus bescreened in night, so stumblest on my counsel? By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy of thee. Had I written, I would tear the word. My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague? Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike. How camest thou hither, tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find me here. Okay, so now we're going to skip forward a little bit. So now they are talking about their love, proposing, talking about going to secretly get married.
Very harsh. Andy, why are you going to wait to them? Keep looking at each other for a second.
I would not want to get married at 13.
Okay, then this is the,
Things used to be a lot different.
so now they talk all night on the balcony and in the orchard, which, you know, they partied into the night, so now morning's coming. 'Tis almost morning, I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in this twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous is his liberty. I would I were thy bird. Sweet, so would I, yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace, so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father sell, his help to crave, and my dear hap to tell. So, who could follow what I was talking about?
Not me. I've heard that story a lot, so yeah, I can. Not me.
Okay.
I've heard that story. We're done? Are we done?
We're gonna read just a little, like a 5-minute section going back to the Holocaust. So we talked a lot about what was happening while they were there. So what we're gonna talk about now is when they were freed.
Free!
Let's see.
Where?
So, pretty much from 1943 through 1945, the Allies were moving through and liberating, and liberate means to free, not just in the concentration camps, but also those countries that were under, basically under the control of the Axis powers, not necessarily by choice. For example, Poland. Poland was not one of the Axis powers, but they had been taken over by the Axis powers. Camden, stop. So they're moving through basically from D-Day on. Remember, they stormed the beaches of Normandy, they sneak attacked, they went, they came across from England and stormed onto